Section She, VAYIGGASA, and Jephthah came near to him and said, In implore and endashing my lord, let thy servant, I implore, speak a word in the hearing of my lord. And let not thy anger grow strong against thy servant, for at the hour that we came to thee thou didst say to us, I fear before the Lord, and now thy judgments are rendered like the judgments of a prince of Pharaoh. My lord asked his servants, saying, Have you a father or a brother? Jerusalem. And Jephthah came near him, and said, In beseeching thee, my lord, let thy servant now speak a word in the hearing of my lord. And let not thy anger be strong against thy servant, for at the first time we came down to thee into Mizraim didst thou not tell us, I fear before the Lord. And now thy judgments are returned like the judgments of Pharaoh thy lord, by whom thou adjurest. Yet I am honorable as thou art, and my father is honorable as Pharaoh thy lord is, by whom thou dost adjure. Can I not swear by the life of the head of my father, and not lie? For if I draw my sword from within its sheath, I would not return it till I had filled all the land of Mizraim with the slain. To its sheath I would not return it, till I had made all Mizraim desolate of inhabitants, beginning with thyself, and ending with Pharaoh thy lord, were it not against the will of my father. Or hath it not been heard by thee, or not told thee, what my two brothers Shimeon and Levi did, who went up against the town of Shechem, while they were dwelling in security, and killed every male by the edge of the sword, because they bad corrupted Dinah our sister, who hath not been numbered in the tribes, nor hath portion or inheritance with us in the dividing of the land. By how much more then shall it be done for Benjamin our brother, who is numbered with us among the tribes, and who hath portion and inheritance with us in the dividing of the land, and in force is more unyielding than theirs, because I have become the sponsor for the youth at the hands of my father, saying, If I bring him not to thee and set him before thee, I will be guilty with thee and be removed from thy salutation all the days. Hast thou not beard, or hath it not been told thee that in the land of Canaan we are kings and princes, as thou art? 19. When Joseph, the beloved and honorable, saw that the strength of Jephthah his brother bad risen up, and that the thoughts of his heart came forth, and that they rent their garments in the tower, beckoned Joseph to Menashe his firstborn, and stamped with his shoe, and all Joseph's palace trembled. In the tower Jephthah said, If it had not been on the side of the house of my father, it would not have been done so. Then began Jephthah to be milder in his words, and he said, My lord asked his servants, saying, Have you a father or a brother? And we told my lord, We have an aged father, and a son of his old age, a little one, whose brother is dead, and he only remains of his mother, and his father on the right account loveth him. And thou saidst to thy servants, Bring him down to me, and I will set mine eyes on him for good. Jerusalem, mine eyes shall be gracious upon him. But we told my lord, The youth cannot leave his father, for if he leave his father, he will die. Yet thou saidst to thy servants, If you bring not your youngest brother down, you shall not again see my face. And it was when we went up to thy servant our father, we related to him my lord's words. And our father said to us, Return, and buy us a little corn. But we told him, We cannot go down if our youngest brother be not with us when we go down, for we shall not be able to see the man's face, unless our youngest brother be with us. And thy servant our father said to us, You know that my wife bare me 2 sons. One went forth from me. And I said, Surely he is dead, and I have not beheld him since, and you will now take this other from before me, and if death happen to him, you'll bring down mine age with mourning to the house of the grave. Therefore thy servant became surety for the youth with my father, saying, If I restore him not to thee, let me be guilty before my father all the days. And now let thy servant remain, I beseech thee, as the slave of my lord, instead of the young man, and let the young man go up with his brothers. For how can I go up to my father, and the young man be not with us, lest I behold the evil that will strike my father through? XLV. And Joseph could not endure not to be able to weep on account of all who stood before him. And he said, Let every man go out from me. And no one stood with him, while Joseph made himself known to his brothers. And he lifted up his voice with weeping, and the Mizrahi heard, and a man of the house of Pharaoh heard. And Joseph said to his brothers, I am Joseph. Is my father yet alive? But his brothers could not answer him a word, for they were troubled before him. And Joseph said to his brothers, Come near, I pray, and examine me. And they came near. And he said to them, I am Joseph your brother, whom you sold into Mizraim. Now therefore be not grieved, nor consider it a hard thing, that you sold me hither, for the Lord sent me hither before you to preserve you. For these 2 years hath the famine been in the midst of the land, and there are yet 5 years in which there will be neither plowing nor harvest. But the Lord sent me before you to set you a remnant in the land, and to preserve you by a great deliverance. And now, it was not you who sent me hither, but it was from before the Lord that the thing was occasioned, that he might set me for a prince unto Pharaoh, a chief over his house, and a ruler in all the land of Mizraim. Make haste, and go up to my father, and say to him, Thus saith thy son Joseph, The Lord hath set me for a chief over all the Mizrahi, come down to me. Delay not, and thou shalt dwell in the land of Goshen, and be near me, thou, and thy sons' children, thy sheep, thy oxen, and all that thou hast. And I will sustain you there, for there are yet 5 years of famine, lest thou and the men of thy house, and all that thou hast be wasted away. And behold, your eyes see, and the eyes of my brother Benjamin, that my mouth speaketh with you in the language of the house of holiness. And you must show my father all the honor I have in Mizraim, and all my greatness which you see, and hasten my father hither. And he bowed himself upon his brother Benjamin's neck, and wept, because it would be that the house of holiness should be builded in the portion of Benjamin, and be twice destroyed. And Benjamin wept upon Joseph's neck, because he saw that the tabernacle of Shiloh would be in the portion of Joseph, and be destroyed. And he kissed all his brethren, and wept over them, because he saw that the sons of his people would be brought into bondage. And afterward his brethren discoursed with him. And a voice was heard in the royal house of Pharaoh, saying, The brothers of Joseph are come. And the thing was pleasing in the eyes of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of his servants. And he said to Joseph, Tell thy brethren this, Lade your beasts, and go. Carry into the land of Canaan, and take your father and the men of your house. And come to me, and I will give you the best of what is desirable in the land of Mizraim, and you shall eat the fat of the land. And thou, Joseph, shalt appoint for the honor of thy father. Therefore tell thy brethren this. Take with you from the land of Mizraim wagons drawn by oxen, in which to carry your children and your wives, and bring your father, and come. And your eyes must not look wistfully on your utensils. For the best of what is desirable in all the land of Mizraim is yours. And the sons of Israel did so. And Joseph gave them wagons according to the word of Pharaoh, and he furnished them with provision for the way. And to each of them he gave vestments and apparel, but to Benjamin he gave 300 shekels of silver, and 5 vestments for apparel. And these presents he sent to his father, 10 asses laden with wine and the good things of Mizraim, and 10 she-asses laden with corn and bread, and provisions for his father's journey. And he dismissed his brothers to go, and said to them, Do not contend about my having been sold, lest you quarrel in passing along the way. And they went up from Mizraim, and came to the land of Canaan, and to Jacob the father. And they declared to him, saying, Joseph is yet alive, and is ruler over all the land of Mizraim. But his heart was divided, because he did not believe them. Jerusalem. And his heart was divided. And they told him all the words of Joseph which he had spoken to them. And when he saw the wagons which Joseph had sent to bring him, the spirit of prophecy which had gone out from him at the time that Joseph was sold, returning, rested upon Jacob the father. And Israel said, Many benefits hath the Lord wrought for me. He delivered me from the hand of Esau, and from the hand of Laban, and from the hands of the Canaanites who pursued me. And many consolations have I seen and have expected to see, but this I had not expected, that Joseph my son should yet be alive. I will go now and behold him before I die. Jerusalem. And Israel said, Many benefits and consolations I had hoped to see, but this I had not expected, that, behold, Joseph my son should be yet alive. I will go and see him before I die. XLVI. And Israel journeyed with all that he had, and came to Beersheba, and offered sacrifices to the God of his father Isaac. And the Lord spake to Israel in a prophecy of the night, and said, Jacob. And he said, Behold me. And he said, I am God, the God of thy father. Fear not to go down into Mizraim on account of the servitude I have decreed with Abraham. For a great people will I make thee there. I am he who in my word will go down with thee into Mizraim. I will regard the affliction of thy children. And my word shall bring thee up from thence, and cause thy children to come up. But Joseph shall lay his hand upon thine eyes. And Jacob arose from Beersheba, and the sons of Israel journeyed with Jacob the father, their little ones, and the wives, in the wagons which Pharaoh had sent to carry him. They took the possessions and the substance which they had gotten in the land of Canaan, and came into Mizraim, Jacob and all his sons with him, his sons and his sons' children with him, his daughters, and the daughters of his sons, and all his seed came with him to Mizraim. These are the names of the sons of Israel who came into Mizraim: Jacob and his sons. The firstborn of Jacob, Reuben. And the sons of Reuben, Hanok and Phalu, Hetzron and Carmi. The sons of Shimeon, Jemuel and Jamin, Ochad, Jachin, Soja and Shaul. He is Zimri, who made the work of the Canaanites in Shittim. And the sons of Levi, Gershon, Kehath and Merari. The sons of Jephudah, Onan, Shelah, Pharez, and Zarek. But Onan died on account of their evil work in the land of Canaan, and Shelah and Zarek had no children in the land of Canaan. But the sons of Pharez who went down to Mizraim were Hetzron and Chamel. The sons of Issachar, sages, and masters of reasoning. The names were Tola, Phua, Job and Shimron. The sons of Zebulun, merchants, masters of commerce, nourishing the brethren, the sons of Issachar, and receiving a reward like theirs. And the names were Serd, Elon, and Jaleel. These are the sons of Leah, whom she bare unto Jacob in Paddan Aram, with Dinah his daughter, all the souls of his sons and his daughter, 33. And the children of Gad, Sephan, Hagi, Suni, Ezedbon, Eri, Arodi, and Ireli. The children of Asher, Yimnah, Yeshva, Yeshvi, Berar, and Serach the sister, who was carried away while alive into the Garden of Eden, because she had announced to Jacob that Joseph still lived. It was she who saved the inhabitants of the city Abel from the judgment of death, in the days of Joab. The sons of Berar who went down into Mizraim were Heber and Malchiel. These are the children of Zilpah, whom Laban gave to Leah his daughter, and she bare them to Jacob, 16 souls. The sons of Rahel, wife of Jacob, Joseph and Benjamin. Unto Joseph were born 2 sons in the land of Mizraim, whom Asenath the daughter of Dinah, educated in the house of Potiphar prince of Tanis, bare Manasseh and Ephraim. The sons of Benjamin, 10, and the names, according to the interpretation of Joseph his brother: Bela, 2, who was swallowed up from him; Becca, who was the chosen of his mother Eshbal, who went into captivity; Gera, who became a sojourner in a foreign land; Naaman, who was pleasant and honorable; Achi, who had a twin brother, the son of his mother Rosh, who was a chief in his father's house; Muppim, who was sold into Muph-Chappim, because at the time that he was separated from him he was the son of 18 years and was eligible for marriage; Chufa, Thalamus, Nuptialize, and Ared, who descended into Mizraim. These are the children of Rahel who were born unto Jacob, all the souls, 14. The sons of Dan, able men, or armed, and merchants, of whose numbers there is no end, or sum. And the sons of Naphtali, Jagziel, Guni, Jetzer, and Shillim. These are the sons of Bilhah, whom Laban gave to Rahel his daughter, and she bare them unto Jacob, all the souls, 7. All the souls which went into Mizraim with Jacob, which had come forth from his thigh, besides the wives of Jacob's sons, all the souls were 66. But the sons of Joseph who were born to him in Mizraim were 2 souls, and Joseph who was in Mizraim And Jochebed the daughter of Levi, who was born among the hills in their journey to Mizraim, the sum of all the souls of the house of Jacob who came into Mizraim, 70. And he sent Jephudah before him to Joseph to indicate the way before him, to subdue the pillars of the earth, and to provide him a house of dwelling in Goshen. And they came to the land of Goshen, Jerusalem, to prepare him a place of habitation in Goshen. And Joseph made ready his chariot, and went up to meet Israel his father in Goshen, and his father, before he recognized him, worshipped him, and thus became liable to be shortened or cut off in his years. And he wondered, and beheld him, and fell upon his neck, and wept still upon his neck, because he had worshipped him. And Israel said to Joseph, If at this time I die, I am comforted. For with the death of the righteous shall I die, after seeing thy face, because thou art yet alive. And Joseph said to his brethren and his father's house, I will go up and tell Pharaoh, and say to him, My brethren and my father's house from the land of Canaan have come to me. The men are pastors of sheep, for they are men, the masters of flocks, and of sheep and oxen, and all which they have brought. And it must be, when Pharaoh calleth you, and saith, Tell me, what is your work? You must say, Thy servants have been masters of flocks from our youth until now, that you may dwell in the land of Goshen, because the Mizraim reject 3 all shepherds. XLVII. And Joseph came and informed Pharaoh, and said, My father and my brethren, with their sheep, all oxen, and all that they have, are come from the land of Canaan, and behold, they are in the land of Goshen. And from the extreme of his brethren he took 5 men, Zebulun, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher, and presented them before Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to Joseph's brethren, What is your work? And they said to Pharaoh, Thy servants are pastors of sheep, both we and our fathers. And they said to Pharaoh, To dwell in the land are we come, because there is no place of pasture for thy servants' sheep, for the famine hath prevailed in the land of Canaan. Let thy servants therefore now dwell in the land of Goshen. And Pharaoh spake to Joseph, saying, Thy father and thy brethren have come to thee. The land of Mizraim is before thee. In the fairest part of the land make thy father and thy brethren to dwell. Let them dwell in the land of Goshen. And if thou know any among them men of ability, appoint them masters over my flocks. And Joseph brought Jacob his father, and presented him before Pharaoh. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh, and said, May it please the Almighty that the waters of Niles may be replenished, and may the famine pass away from the world in thy days. And Pharaoh said to Jacob, How many of the days of the years of thy life? And Jacob answered Pharaoh, The days of the years of my pilgrimage are 130 years. Few and evil have been the days of the years of my life, for in my youth I fled before Esau my brother, and sojourned in a land not my own, and now in the time of my old age have I come down to sojourn here. And my days have not reached the days of the years of the life of my fathers in the days of the pilgrimage. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh, and went out from before Pharaoh. And Joseph brought his father and brethren to dwell, and gave them a possession in the land of Mizraim, in a goodly part of the country, in the country of Pelusium, as Pharaoh had commanded. Jerusalem, Pelusium. And Joseph sustained his father and his brethren and all his father's house with bread, according to the need of their families. But there was no bread grown in all the land, because the famine prevailed greatly, and the inhabitants of the land of Mizraim failed, and the dwellers in the land of Canaan, in presence of the famine. And Joseph collected all the money which was found in the land of Mizraim, and in the land of Canaan, for the corn which he sold to them. And Joseph brought the money into the treasure house of Pharaoh. And the money was finished from the land of Mizraim, and from the land of Canaan. And the Mizraim came to Joseph, saying, Give us bread, why should we die before thee? For all our money is finished. Jerusalem, and hath failed. And Joseph said, Give your flocks, and for your flocks I will give you provisions, if the money be consumed. And they brought the cattle to Joseph. And Joseph gave them bread for the horses, and for the flocks of sheep, the oxen, and the asses, and he sustained them with bread for all the flocks for that year, in that year being ended. All the Mizrahi came to him in the 2nd year, and said to him, We will not hide it from my lord, that the money is finished, and my lord hath the flocks of cattle. There is nothing left us before my lord except our bodies and our land. Why should we die thine eye, seeing that both we and our land also? Buy us and our land for bread, and we and our land will be servants of Pharaoh, and give the seed of corn, that we may live and not die, and the land be not desolated. And Joseph bought all the land of Mizraim for Pharaoh, for the Mizrahi sold every man his portion, because the famine prevailed over them, and the land became the property of Pharaoh. And the people of a province be removed to a city, and the people of the city he removed to a province, for the sake of the brethren of Joseph, that they might not be called wanderers. Therefore he made them migrate from one end of Mizraim to the other, Jerusalem. And the people who were dwelling in the province he removed into the city, and the people who dwelt in the city he removed into the province, that they might not deride the sons of Jacob, and call them Galilean, wandering guests. Only the land of the priests he bought, not because they had considered him innocent at the time when his master was seeking to put him to death, and they had delivered him from the judgment of death. And besides he had said that a portion should be given them from Pharaoh. So they ate the portion which Pharaoh gave them, and sold not the land. And Joseph said to the people, Behold, I have this day bought you and your land for Pharaoh. Behold, I give you seed corn to sow the land, and at the time of the ingathering of your produce you shall give the 5th part to Pharaoh. And 4 parts shall be yours for the seeding of your land, and for food, and for provision for your houses and little ones. And they said, Thou hast preserved us. Let us find favor in the eyes of my lord, and we will be Pharaoh's servants. And Joseph established it a law unto this day of the land of Mizraim, to take to Pharaoh a 5th part of the produce, except only the land of the priests which was not Pharaoh's. And Israel dwelt in the land of Mizraim, and they built their schools and mansions in the land of Goshen, and inherited therein fields and vineyards, and they increased and multiplied greatly.